Pay attention to how this crippled maid puts Ferdinand Bowling's rogue canine dog to sleep after 25 of his most feared guards have tried and almost got themselves killed. Before we see how weakness turned to strength and how the maid turned to a hero, please hit that subscribe button and tell us where you are watching from. Let's continue our story. The reinforced steel door of the compound's kill room groaned as Carolina Horsefall limped through, dragging her twisted left leg behind her like a secret she'd carried for 37 years. In her weathered hands, worn smooth by decades of scrubbing blood from marble floors, she clutched a faded stuffed rabbit, threadbare, missing one button eye, its ears drooping with age. Behind her, 25 of Ferdinand Bowling's most feared soldiers watched in stunned silence. 3 had fresh bandages wrapped around mangled forearms. 2 more held ice packs against faces still swelling from this morning's attempt to enter the room. The youngest, Marco, leaned against the wall with his right hand in a makeshift splint, his cocky smile long gone. "Maid, you can't!" started Antonio, Ferdinand's second in command, a man who'd broken kneecaps with his bare hands without flinching. But something in Carolina's steady gaze made his voice die in his throat. From the shadows of the kill room came a sound that made grown killers step backward, a low, guttural growl that vibrated in the chest like approaching thunder. Reaper, 140 pounds of Belgian Malinois, trained to view mercy as a weakness and hesitation as an invitation. The dog had drawn blood from everyone who'd tried to control him in the past 72 hours. Carolina didn't step back. She didn't reach for the cattle prod leaning against the door frame or the shock collar Antonio held in his trembling fist. She simply lowered herself, slowly, painfully, to one knee, her bad leg stretching out at an awkward angle. The rabbit dangled from her fingers, swaying gently. "Jesus," whispered Marco, "she's going to get herself killed." Reaper emerged from the darkness, lips curled back to reveal teeth that had torn through Kevlar vests. His eyes, amber and wild, locked onto Carolina. Every muscle in his body coiled tight, a loaded weapon waiting for the trigger. Carolina made a sound, not words, just a low, soft hum that seemed to come from somewhere deep in her chest. The rabbit swayed, left, right, left. "What the hell is she doing?" Antonio breathed. But Ferdinand Bowling, watching from the security room 3 floors above, through monitors that captured every angle, knew exactly what she was doing. She was doing what power couldn't do, what violence had failed to accomplish, what 25 armed, trained killers hadn't dared try. She was seeing the dog.
3 days earlier, Ferdinand Bowling stood in the marble-floored foyer of his Chicago compound, watching his newest acquisition arrive in a custom-reinforced transport crate. Reaper. The name alone had cost him $250,000. The dog had cost him 3 times that. "Best trained protection dog in the Midwest," the breeder had promised. "Responds to 17 commands in 3 languages. Bite force that'll snap a man's arm like kindling. Absolutely fearless." What the breeder hadn't mentioned, what Ferdinand discovered within 12 hours, was that Reaper's previous handler had been killed during a rival syndicate raid. The dog had watched, and something in that watching had broken. Now the animal wouldn't eat, wouldn't sleep, wouldn't let anyone within 10 feet without launching into a frenzy of teeth and rage that seemed less like aggression and more like desperation. Ferdinand watched from his office as Marco, young, arrogant, eager to prove himself, entered the kill room with a stake in one hand and a training collar in the other. "I got this, boss. My uncle trained pit bulls. Dogs respect strength." 60 seconds later, Marco was on the floor, screaming, his hand a mangled mess of torn flesh and shattered bone. It took 4 men to drag him out, while Reaper stood in the center of the room, chest heaving, eyes wild, the steak untouched on the floor. Ferdinand felt something then that he hadn't experienced in 15 years of running the most feared syndicate in Chicago. Something his uncle had beaten out of him when he was 12 years old, after his father made the fatal mistake of showing mercy to a rival who'd begged for his family's safety. Helplessness. "Tranquilize it," he ordered Antonio. "We'll try again tomorrow." Tomorrow became 3 tomorrows. 3 days of failed attempts. 3 days of watching his men, killers who'd gutted rivals without blinking, reduced to terrified children by one traumatized animal. The compound had 17 cameras. 6 monitored the kill room alone. Ferdinand watched every feed, searching for something he could exploit, a weakness, a pattern, an opening. He found none. What he did find on the morning of the 3rd day was Carolina Horsfall. She'd been cleaning his compound for 3 years, invisible, efficient, so quiet he sometimes forgot she was there until he noticed the bloodstains were gone, the marble gleamed, and the brass fixtures shone like liquid gold. She limped from room to room with her cleaning cart, never speaking unless spoken to, never looking anyone directly in the eye. Ferdinand had hired her because she was cheap, because her limp meant she couldn't run if she saw something she shouldn't, because people like her, broken people, learned early to mind their business. He watched her now on the security feed, mopping the hallway outside the kill room. She'd stopped, her head tilted slightly, like she was listening to something only she could hear. The growling. She was listening to Reaper's growling. And her face, for just a moment, held something Ferdinand hadn't seen in years. Recognition. Not fear, not disgust. Recognition. Carolina had been 7 when the accident happened. Not an accident, really. Accidents implied no one was to blame. Her mother's boyfriend, high on whatever poison he'd chosen that week, had kicked her down the basement stairs when she'd asked if there was food for dinner. The fall shattered her left femur in 3 places. The hospital bill went unpaid. The surgery that might have saved her full mobility never happened. Instead, she got a cast, some painkillers that ran out in a week, and a limp that marked her as damaged goods for the next 30 years. But before the basement, before the cast, before the limp became her defining feature, there had been Dr. Sarah Mitchell's veterinary clinic. Carolina had volunteered there every Saturday from age 5 to 7, too young to assist with surgeries, but old enough to sit with the animals the clinic couldn't save. The strays with broken legs, the rescue dogs with cigarette burns and rope scars, the cats who'd learned that human hands meant pain. Dr. Mitchell had taught her the secret. Wounded animals didn't need dominance, they needed safety. And safety started with being seen, not as the thing they'd become, but as the creature they were beneath the fear. "Watch their breathing, Carolina," Dr. Mitchell would say. "Fast and shallow means panic. Slow and deep means they're starting to trust you're not a threat." Carolina pressed her ear to the kill room door now, 30 years later, and listened to Reaper's breathing. Fast, desperate, the breathing of something that had learned survival meant staying ready to fight. Antonio's voice cut through her concentration. "Miss Horsfall, you need to move along. This isn't a safe area." She turned to face him. Antonio, who'd once broken a man's jaw for looking at him wrong. Antonio, who was currently holding a cattle prod like it was a shield against his own inadequacy. "He's scared," Carolina said quietly. "Scared? Lady, that thing nearly tore Marco's hand off. It's not scared, it's feral." "Scared animals bite first. They don't wait to see if you're safe. They can't afford to." "What are you, a dog whisperer?" Marco sneered from his position against the wall, cradling his bandaged hand. "Why don't you go whisper at it then? Show us how it's done." The other men laughed, nervous laughter that died quickly when Carolina's gaze swept across them. "I could try," Carolina said.
The laughter stopped completely. Antonio opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "You're serious?" Carolina was already limping toward her cleaning cart, parked 20 feet down the hallway. She returned carrying the stuffed rabbit, the one she'd rescued from a dumpster behind the compound 2 months ago. She'd cleaned it, sewn the tear in its side, kept it in her cart because throwing away something that could still bring comfort felt like a waste. "Miss Horsefall," Antonio said, his voice tight. "Mr. Bowling gave strict orders. No one enters that room without authorization." "Then get authorization," Carolina said, her hand already reaching for the door handle. 3 floors above, Ferdinand Bowling leaned forward in his chair, watching the security feed with an intensity usually reserved for interrogations. Antonio's voice crackled through the intercom. "Boss, the maid wants to enter the kill room." Ferdinand should have said no, should have ordered Antonio to remove her immediately, should have had her escorted out and told never to return. Instead, he pressed the intercom button and said 2 words that would change everything. "Let her."
The kill room smelled like violence, old blood and fresh fear, mixed with the metallic tang of adrenaline. Carolina's nose wrinkled, but she didn't retreat. She'd grown up with worse smells, the sour reek of cheap liquor and cheaper men, the particular stench of poverty that no amount of scrubbing could fully erase. Reaper watched her from the far corner, body coiled so tight it trembled. His amber eyes tracked every movement, the slow drag of her bad leg, the careful way she lowered herself to one knee, the dangling rabbit swaying in her weathered hand. Carolina didn't look at him directly. Dr. Mitchell had taught her that. Direct eye contact meant challenge to a scared animal, meant threat, meant danger. Instead, she looked at the floor, at the walls, at everything except the dog. And she hummed. Not a song, just sound, low and steady, the kind of sound that said, "I'm here, I'm not attacking, I'm not a threat." The rabbit swayed, left, right, left. Reaper's growl deepened. His lips curled back further, revealing gums and teeth designed to tear flesh from bone. Carolina's hum didn't falter. The rabbit kept swaying. In the security room, Ferdinand found himself holding his breath. On the screen, the crippled black woman and the killer dog existed in a tableau that seemed to defy physics. Predator and prey, power and vulnerability, violence and stillness. "What is she doing?" he whispered to the empty room. What Carolina was doing was reading. Not words, not language. Reading the story written in Reaper's body, the tension in his shoulders that screamed exhaustion, the tremor in his back legs that spoke of muscles held too tight for too long, the rapid panting that revealed a creature running from threats that existed only in memory. She'd seen this story before, in the mirror, in the face of every person who'd written her off as broken, disposable, less than. In her own reflection during the long nights when the pain in her leg kept her awake and she wondered if being written off might not be wrong. Reaper took a step forward, his growl pitched higher, not deeper, higher, the sound of something cornered, making noise to keep the monsters away. Carolina's hand moved, slowly, so slowly it seemed more like the rabbit was drifting than being moved, closer, inch by inch, until it rested on the blood-stained concrete floor 6 feet from the dog's front paws. She withdrew her hand, didn't look at the dog, didn't move, just waited. Above, Ferdinand's knuckles had gone white where he gripped the edge of his desk. Every instinct screamed at him to intervene, to end this before something terrible happened, to maintain control the only way he knew how, through force. But he didn't move, couldn't move. Something about the scene held him paralyzed. Reaper's breathing changed, slowed, not by much, but enough. The dog took 1 step forward, then another, his head lowered, his nose stretched toward the rabbit.
And in the silence of the kill room, Carolina Horsefall accomplished what 25 trained killers with cattle prods and shock collars and raw intimidation could not. Reaper picked up the rabbit.
Ferdinand Bowling descended the stairs to the kill room like a man approaching an execution, his own. Behind him, Antonio and the others formed a reluctant parade of witnesses to something none of them could explain. Through the reinforced glass panel in the door, they watched. Carolina sat on the concrete floor now, her bad legs stretched awkwardly to one side. Reaper lay 3 feet away, the stuffed rabbit between his paws, not chewing it, not destroying it, just holding it. His massive head rested on his front legs, amber eyes half closed. The woman was talking. Ferdinand couldn't hear the words through the door, but he could see her lips moving, slow, gentle, like she was telling the dog a bedtime story. "How long has she been in there?" Ferdinand asked. Antonio checked his watch. 47 minutes. 47 minutes. Ferdinand had sent his best men in with tranquilizer guns and protective gear, and they'd lasted less than 3. This woman, this limping, invisible woman he paid minimum wage to mop his floors, had walked in with a toy rabbit and accomplished what $250,000 couldn't buy. "She's touching him," Marco whispered, his voice tight with something between awe and disbelief. Ferdinand's gaze snapped back to the window. Carolina's hand, slow as sunrise, steady as breathing, moved toward Reaper's head. The dog's eyes opened, tracked the movement, but the growl didn't come. The teeth didn't flash. Her fingers made contact with the scar running along Reaper's muzzle. The dog flinched, but didn't strike, didn't run, just let her touch him. "Jesus Christ," Antonio breathed. Ferdinand's jaw tightened. His uncle's voice echoed in his memory, sharp and unforgiving. "Emotion is weakness, caring is a liability, power respects only power, and everything else is just waiting to be taken." His uncle had been right. Ferdinand had built an empire on that philosophy. Fear was respect, control was safety, power protected you from the world's cruelty by making sure everyone else felt it first. But watching Carolina stroke Reaper's scarred head, watching a crippled black woman accomplish with gentleness what his entire organization had failed to achieve with force, Ferdinand felt something crack inside the armor he'd spent 15 years building. Not doubt, not yet, just a question he hadn't allowed himself to ask since his father's funeral. What if his uncle had been wrong? "Get her out," he said abruptly. "Sir? Get her out now, before..." Before what? Before the dog remembered it was supposed to be dangerous? Before whatever spell she'd cast broke? Before Ferdinand had to acknowledge that everything he'd built his life on might be a lie? "Before it's not safe," he finished weakly. Antonio opened the door slowly. "Miss Horsefall, Mr. Bowling would like you to exit the room now." Carolina looked up. Her eyes met Ferdinand's through the window, and for a moment, just a moment, he saw something in her gaze that made him want to look away. Not judgment, not accusation, just clarity. The kind of clarity that comes from surviving things that should have broken you and choosing not to let them make you cruel. She rose slowly, wincing as her bad leg protested. Reaper lifted his head, watching. When she reached the door, she paused and looked back at the dog. "Tomorrow?" she asked softly. Reaper's tail moved. Not a wag, not yet, just acknowledgement. A small movement that said, "I see you, I remember, I might trust you tomorrow." Ferdinand found himself nodding before he'd consciously decided to do it. "Tomorrow," he agreed. As Carolina limped past him into the hallway, trailing the scent of floor cleaner and quiet competence, Ferdinand made a decision that would either save them all or destroy everything he'd built. He would watch, he would learn, he would let her keep coming back.
Carolina found it 3 days later, a black rose lying across her cleaning cart, its thorns stripped clean, its petals perfect despite having no business being there. She'd parked the cart in the servants' corridor at the compound's east wing, a place with no windows, no garden access, no reason for flowers to appear, especially not a Battaglia rose. She knew what it meant. Everyone in Chicago with eyes and ears knew what it meant. The Battaglia crime family had been at war with Ferdinand's organization for 5 years, a cold war of calculated strikes and careful boundaries. They didn't attack the compound. Ferdinand didn't raid their operations. An uneasy peace maintained through mutual deterrence. The rose meant the rules had changed. Carolina's hands trembled as she picked up the flower. Beneath it, pressed into the metal cart's surface, was a note written in elegant script. "Every king has a weakness. You're his." Above her, in his office, Ferdinand stared at the photograph his lieutenant had just placed on his desk. It showed Carolina entering the compound, leaving the compound, walking to the bus stop, waiting. The images had been taken from different angles, different times of day, different locations. Professional surveillance, days of it, maybe weeks. "They sent these to our front security," Antonio said quietly, along with a message, "Protecting the weak makes you weak." Ferdinand's jaw worked. When? 20 minutes ago. 20 minutes. They'd watched him for 3 days, watched Carolina walk into the kill room every morning at 7, watched Reaper, the vicious, uncontrollable killing machine, curl up at her feet like a puppy, watched Ferdinand's face on the security feeds as he observed something he couldn't quantify or control or weaponize. They'd seen his weakness, and now they'd named it. "Options," Ferdinand said flatly. Antonio didn't hesitate. "Fire her. Immediate termination. No severance, no explanation. She disappears from your life, she disappears from their radar." "And the dog?" Antonio's silence answered the question. Without Carolina, Reaper would revert, become unmanageable, become what Ferdinand had originally wanted, a weapon, or become a liability that needed to be eliminated. Ferdinand's uncle would have made the decision in 30 seconds, cut the weakness, eliminate the vulnerability. Power protected itself by refusing to need anyone. But Ferdinand found himself thinking about Carolina's face when she'd looked back at Reaper that first day. The gentleness in her scarred hands, the way she'd accomplished with compassion what all his money and violence had failed to achieve. "No," he said. Antonio's eyebrows shot up. "Boss." "I said no." Ferdinand stood, moving to the window that overlooked the compound's gardens. Below, he could see Carolina limping across the courtyard, her cleaning supplies in one hand, the black rose crushed in the other. "They want me to prove I'm still dangerous, still untouchable, still the man who doesn't care about anything except power." "Yes," Antonio said carefully, "and if you don't." "Then what?" Ferdinand turned back to him. "They what? Attack? They've been wanting an excuse for 5 years. If it's not her, it'll be something else, someone else." "But my father showed mercy once. My uncle told me it got him killed, told me caring made you vulnerable, made you weak." Ferdinand picked up the photographs, studying Carolina's face in each one, tired, determined, unbroken despite a lifetime of reasons to break. But Carolina isn't weak, and what she did in that kill room wasn't weakness. It was something else, something I don't have a name for. "What are you saying?" Ferdinand met Antonio's eyes. "I'm saying the Battaglias just made a mistake. They thought telling me she's my weakness would make me abandon her. Instead, they just showed me what I need to protect. Double her security, triple it. If they want her, they go through all of us."
Carolina didn't return to work for 3 days after the rose appeared. Ferdinand knew because he checked the security feeds obsessively. The front gate, the servants' entrance, the bus stop 3 blocks away where she always waited each morning at 6:45. Empty. All of them. Reaper noticed. The dog had been eating again, sleeping without the nightmares that made him thrash and growl in the darkness. But on day 2 without Carolina, he stopped, lay in the corner of the kill room, the stuffed rabbit between his paws, and stared at the door, waiting. On day 3, Ferdinand found himself driving to her address, an apartment building in a neighborhood where his expensive car drew stares and whispers. The building was exactly what he'd expected: crumbling concrete, broken security buzzer, graffiti covering the entrance like scar tissue. Carolina lived on the 4th floor, no elevator. He climbed the stairs, each step reminding him why she always looked exhausted by the time she reached his compound. She answered the door on the 3rd knock, and the surprise on her face would have been funny if Ferdinand hadn't been so shocked by what he saw. Her apartment was smaller than his walk-in closet, a single room with a kitchenette, a bathroom visible through a half-open door, and a futon that served as both couch and bed. But it was spotless, organized, the kind of clean that came from someone who'd learned early that dignity wasn't about what you owned, it was about how you cared for it. "Mr. Bowling," she said quietly, "I wasn't expecting." "The rose," he said. "Tell me about the rose." Her expression didn't change. "I got the message. I won't be coming back to the compound. It's safer." "For who?" Ferdinand stepped inside without invitation. Carolina flinched but didn't protest. "Safer for you, for me, for Reaper?" "For everyone." She crossed her arms over her chest. "I clean houses, Mr. Bowling. I mop floors. I don't belong in the middle of mob wars. You fixed my dog. I helped a traumatized animal feel safe. That doesn't make me, it makes you valuable." The word felt inadequate, wrong, not because it was untrue, but because it reduced what she'd done to a transaction. "It makes you important." Carolina laughed, a bitter sound that held 30 years of being told she wasn't important. Important, right, until being important gets me killed. "They won't what? Won't hurt me?" She limped closer, and Ferdinand saw the fire in her eyes, the same fire that had let her walk into a room with a killer dog, armed nothing but a toy rabbit. "Mr. Bowling, I've been hurt my entire life, by people who were supposed to protect me, by systems that were supposed to help me, by a world that decided my worth the moment I started limping. The Battaglias don't scare me because they can hurt me. They scare me because they're right." "Right about what?" "That caring makes you weak." Her voice broke. "You saw what I did with Reaper, and you started to care. And the moment you cared, you became vulnerable. They saw it. Everyone saw it. And now? Now what?" Ferdinand moved closer. "Now I'm supposed to prove them right? Fire you? Pretend I never saw what you can do? Pretend that the most dangerous man in Chicago couldn't figure out something that you, a woman they'll never even notice, understood in 30 seconds? I'm not trying to." "My father died because he cared," Ferdinand said quietly. "My uncle spent 15 years teaching me that love was a weapon enemies used against you, that trust was a liability, that power meant never needing anyone." He paused. "And then you walked into my compound with a limp and a stuffed rabbit and proved everything he taught me was wrong." Carolina stared at him. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I don't know how to protect you, don't know how to keep you safe without becoming everything my uncle warned me against, don't know how to be powerful and human at the same time." The silence stretched between them like a bridge neither knew how to cross. Finally, Carolina spoke. "Reaper didn't need me to be powerful. He needed me to be present, to see him, to not need him to be anything except what he was. And if the Battaglias come, then we stop them, together, with Reaper, but not because I'm a weakness you need to protect, because I'm a person who chose to show up."
The Battaglias came on a Tuesday at 3 in the morning, the hour when even dangerous men sleep deepest. They came with 6 soldiers, 2 vehicles, and a plan that would have worked if Ferdinand had been the man they thought he was. But the man they thought he was would have sent Carolina away, would have eliminated the weakness, would have chosen power over humanity. Instead, Ferdinand had done something his uncle never would have. He'd asked Carolina what she needed to feel safe, and she'd said, "A room, in the compound, so I don't have to take the bus at 6 in the morning, so I'm not alone." So he'd given her a room, next to his, with Reaper sleeping across her threshold every night like a 140-pound guardian made of teeth and loyalty. When the Battaglias breached the east gate, Reaper woke first. His growl, low and dangerous, pulled Carolina from sleep. She found Ferdinand already in the hallway, pulling on a vest, checking his weapon with the practiced efficiency of someone who'd done this too many times. "Stay here," he ordered. "Antonio's bringing backup." "No." He turned. "Carolina, I'm not hiding." She was already dressed, her hand on Reaper's collar. The dog's muscles quivered with barely contained violence, but his eyes, those amber eyes that had learned to trust again, stayed fixed on her face. "You said we do this together. That means together." Ferdinand's instinct screamed at him to argue, to lock her in the room, to protect her by removing her from danger. But he'd been removing people from danger his whole life, eliminating variables, controlling outcomes, and all it had earned him was isolation and a killer dog that no one could touch. Until Carolina. "Stay behind me," he said instead, "both of you." They met the Battaglias in the compound's warehouse, a cavernous space filled with shipping crates that provided cover and shadows. Gio Battaglia, the family's enforcer, stood at the center with 5 armed men flanking him. "Ferdinand," Gio called out, "heard you picked up a pet. 2 pets, actually. Wanted to come see for myself." Ferdinand stepped into the light, Carolina and Reaper behind him. "This is private property, Gio. You're trespassing." "Private?" Gio laughed. "That's rich. Nothing about you is private, Ferdinand. We've been watching you go soft, watching you care about a woman who cleans your floors and a dog that should have been put down weeks ago." He pulled his weapon. "Your uncle would be ashamed." "My uncle," Ferdinand said quietly, "taught me that power meant never needing anyone, that trust was weakness, that caring made you vulnerable. Smart man." "He was also wrong." Ferdinand raised his own weapon. "Carolina taught me something better. Power isn't about never needing anyone. It's about being worth someone choosing to stand beside you, about creating safety instead of demanding fear." Behind him, Carolina whispered something to Reaper. The dog's ears perked forward. "Touching speech," Gio said. "Now let me explain how this works. You give us the maid, we let you keep your life and your pride. Or," he gestured to his men, all of whom now had weapons trained on Ferdinand, "we take her anyway and burn your compound to the ground." Ferdinand didn't move, didn't flinch, just stood between Carolina and the guns like he was made of the same reinforced steel as the compound's walls. "You want her?" he said quietly. "You go through both of us." Carolina's voice, soft but clear. "Reaper, protect." What happened next would become legend in Chicago's underworld. Reaper, the traumatized killer dog that couldn't be controlled, couldn't be trusted, couldn't be anything except dangerous, moved with the precision of a trained weapon, guided by love instead of fear. He didn't attack to kill, he attacked to disable. Teeth found wrists holding guns, weight knocked men off balance, speed made him a blur of fur and focused violence that left 5 soldiers on the ground, disarmed and bleeding, but alive. Gio Battaglia stood alone, his weapon forgotten on the floor, staring at the dog who now sat calmly at Carolina's side, tongue lolling, tail wagging slightly. "How?" Gio breathed. "She sees him," Ferdinand said simply, "not as a weapon, not as a tool, as exactly what he is, and he trusts her because of it. Now get out of my compound and tell your family that weakness looks a lot like strength when you're on the wrong end of it."